generation,
on BakerMotel.com, the Republican candidate for governor.
Have sexual relations
and I realized that this is something he is
We're not going to be able to solve our problems if we get distracted by sideshows and carnival barkers.
One Republican, one Democrat, and you discuss the issues that matter in today's local, state, national, and global politics. Hosted by Steve Hickson with co-hosts John Stanberry and Franklin Chansey. This is Backfire.
Good morning, Cleveland. Welcome to another edition of Backfire this morning with John Stanberry.
Hey, Steve.
Good morning, John. This morning we also
He'll get louder in a few minutes. He's warming up.
We have Ron Moore sitting in for Franklin Chansey.
I'm just here I don't know if I can sit in for Franklin. Franklin does a good job.
I think Franklin just needed a week off, to be honest with you. I'm not
I think he strained his voice last week.
He had something he had to do.
He got over that.
Anyway, I guess he did need a week off. Anyway, good to be with you again this week. There's a couple of local things going on. There's something going on over this county road department at odds in the banner it said a barrier use of right of way, and then I've heard some talk around town about a county road superintendent, I think, is trying to change the barriers of the right of ways. I think this road was supposed to have been 30-foot right of way, and I think she's trying to claim it's 40 foot or 50 feet or something. There's a bunch of stuff, hula going on. I really don't know what, and we probably ought to get her in here maybe and talk to her about it sometime in the future. But there's a business owner here that's really upset about it. So anybody have any input they want to put on?
I know when I worked at a cable company that normally the most right-of-ways in Bradley County and Cleveland is 25 foot from the center of the road. And, knowing when it was
on each
cable,
side, so 50 foot total.
Here's the problem with that. I mean, Ron's right, but I can tell you as a property owner, I've gone up all the time and said, okay, it's 25. Oh, no. The right-of-way's on that side of the road. The problem is you can't argue with government. And government always wants more power and more control, and they want more property. And so,
but I don't know that 40 foot. The road superintendent doesn't have the authority to change that. That would,
and these are legal rights that property owners are supposed to have.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
There was some. I read the article quickly, but there was some issues about down the road. The route it was narrower than what she's claiming it is up here, and some of these.
So what?
So isn't it supposed to be a standard?
It's measured from the center of the road.
Theoretically, but like I said, if the government comes in, because I've had them do it, where we were working on setbacks. Mm-hmm. We said, okay, we're so far back from the middle of the road, and they said, oh, well, in this case, the right-of-ways doesn't start in the middle of the road. It starts on the left side or the right side. And the problem is, how do you argue with government? Because they got the lawyers behind them. They got tax dollars behind them. You then have to pay money to fight that battle.
Yes.
Most people don't fight the battle.
Exactly. But I have, digging underground a lot in the cable company. We would, putting anchors down at poles and different things. People would come out and question us. And, I understand that, if we had to dig underground and there's their flower bed, we would always try to go to them and say, we're going to dig this up, but we're going to put it back. We will do that.
But that's a private business that was doing that.
Well, but we, under our agreement with the city, that we had the right to use their right of way, and that's how come we played it.
Right.
So anyway, but we come through there, and people weren't happy about it a lot of times, but usually you talk to them and you.
Well, here's another problem, and I've brought this up before. The utility companies a lot of times don't notify either. I had this discussion with them one time. I come into the office, and as I'm coming around the corner, there's a backhoe out there digging a big old hole. Now, I understand right of way. I know they have a right to do whatever they want, but I called up and said, what are y'all doing? And I immediately got this attitude. Well, we have a right to do that. And the problem was, I knew they had a right to do it. My point was, you could have avoided an angry phone call if you'd have just called a day or two earlier and said, hey, we're going to be out here. We're going to dig this up. And I would have gone, okay.
I had went home one day when my mom was alive to help, and went by my house, and 80 feet down in my yard, there was one of those big orange asphalt trucks down there cutting down trees in my yard.
Same thing.
And I went in and I said, why are you cutting trees? Well, they look like they have pine beetles. I said, well, it doesn't matter. They're in my yard. Mm-hmm. I said, shouldn't you ask me? And they said, we went to your door, and I said, what did I say? And so then I told him, I said, okay, so he's cut down some trees. I'm sure you're going to pick out. No, you're responsible for that. I said, no, I'm not responsible for you cutting trees in my yard and leaving them there. And I said, basically, my car's sitting behind the asphalt trunk till someone comes and gets these trees up out of my yard. And I called the utility company, and they give me an attitude. And I went on up the ladder, and it got a little bit better, and got the tree. But they cut trees in my yard
without permission.
And they said, my trees may fall and hit the power lines. I said, well, what about the trees that are, all these trees between those, that it would have to knock down 20 other trees? So I understand where you're coming from. If I was a business owner or the homeowner and they're 40, 50 feet down my yard, I'd be complaining about it too. And I don't think they have the right to measure it from one point one time, one to the other. But like you say, it is government, and good luck if you want trying to win.
Louis Alford is wanting to set up a committee to handle the EMS and fire for the county. Evidently, there's been a problem there. They're running under. I'm seeing what Mylan Blake says here. One obstacle, said Commissioner Mylan Blake, is that they now have two separate budgets, and the departments are set up differently with a board and a committee, said Vice Chairman Jeff Yarber.
I don't know. That has continuously been a fuss and an argument. At one point, the city was talking about forming their own. All of this right-of-way discussion, again, I'll fall back. A lot of this is our own fault as a culture. Every time you turn over another portion of your responsibility as an individual citizen to the government, you empower that government to be bigger and more powerful and more controlling of your life. And so it's our own fault. We keep abdicating our responsibilities as individuals, turning over more and more. And I'm not, in this particular case, my point just is you got a bunch of bureaucrats who can't figure out how to make something work.
Well,
and so they're fussing and arguing.
There's some things the government ought to do, but then they mess it up. I mean, so
I just read this article a little further, and it's talking about I think the separation is the Bradley County EMS department and the fire department. Under two different budgets and controlled by two different groups, and they're trying to get it all under one. Is what the suggestion is.
I guess, and I'm sure if I was the EMS, I
whether
wouldn't.
There's two budgets or one budget.
Who's going to be in charge?
Same thing, yeah.
I mean, if you're the EMS director, you don't want to lose that authority that you've had. If you're the fire chief, you don't want to lose the authority you've had. Someone's going to lose authority when you merge these two.
I was on the 911 board when we combined it all. And talking about some fights, they, because everybody had their own dispatch system, which was a really silly system considering people could call one person and get it. There's some other 911 problems, though, that the government got involved in. But that territory is so it's just like we would never go to metro government in Cleveland, Tennessee, because so much argument, whether it's good or bad. I didn't say it was, but I just saying we could never do that there because there's so much turf war and turf battles over some silly things sometime. I don't think it's
Well, this is all among the county. This isn't even talking about the county and the city. This is all fussing among departments in the county.
Well, we can get over to the city in a few minutes with some of theirs too. But yeah, but it's true. I mean, it's John and I agree on this probably 100% now. Now, although, wait, let's write this down: date and time and history here. John and I agreed on something. John and I agree on a lot of things, just not how to fix it.
All right, I want to ask you about the labor board.
There is one thing you need to keep in mind about that issue right there.
Yeah.
There's a whole separate fire district and a tax that people pay for the county fire department. That's going to be a little bit of a problem when you combine those two together.
EMS and that.
Right.
Yes.
I don't understand what's going on with the fire and the rescue. And
well, keep in mind we're one of only 5 counties in the entire state that have a county fire department.
Yeah.
Hamilton County doesn't have a county fire department. But we do.
Some of the biggest arguments we had on 911 was who got to go squirt water on the fire, whether it was in a city fire district or a county fire. When we first put it together, and we had one address wrong in the computer, that it was right in the middle where across the street was city when this was county. And then it was another fire. 3 fire departments showed up, and they were mad because they didn't get to squirt water on the fire.
Keep in mind, you had a church burned down in the county because apparently someone in the city, they wouldn't send the pumper truck out. So they brought Polk County in, and they brought, I think, Meigs County in rather than Cleveland City responding over turf wars.
All right, let's take a poll here.
Now, let me say one thing, because this always bounces around. The firemen and the firewomen that work for the system do a wonderful job. Amen. And are desperately needed. This is not disparaging the men and women that work in the department. But how it gets put together is a whole different ballgame.
So what you're trying to say is there should be one unit rather than
I always thought that there should have been. I think they should have worked something out with the city, to be perfectly honest. Right. We still need the firemen. We still need the coverage. So it doesn't involve the people.
There's no way you can have 2 separate units and save money.
Well, my argument was, even if you have 2 separate units, why would you not have a cooperative agreement? For example, we have county fire halls that are less than a mile away from city fire halls. As the city grows and annexes areas, they become responsible for fire coverage in those areas. They don't want that fire hall because it's too close to a fire hall they already had. Even if you were going to have separate departments, you could have worked out an agreement where there was a governing board that helped place the stations, and the city could have had an agreement in place that as they annex, they would purchase the station and the employees to man that station. That would have been a sensible solution for the taxpayer. Would have made sense. Well, now as the city grows, they're going to grow and they're going to go, we don't want that fire hall. We don't need it because we got one right down the road.
Well, I lived in the county, and I was closer to the city fire department, and I'd have to wait for the county to come put out my fire. I always thought the county could have built the stations and provided the equipment, then hired the Cleveland Police Department to actually run.
But that would have required cooperation on where you placed the fire halls.
Yeah. Well, yes. Well, but that would help the city fire department also if if a county fire department is closer to the city residents. The important thing, and Sheriff Gilley, when he was sheriff on our board, said, I don't care if my house is on fire, I don't care who comes and puts it out. Send them all.
And by the way, there was a model for this, the sewer that went in for the Maytag plant. That was a cooperative effort. The county and the city agreed on that effort because everybody could see their shared interest. The problem, personally, for me, I think what happened was you had some county elected officials that wanted another kingdom to control. And, never mind that the taxpayer's the one paying for that kingdom.
I agree.
It's always kingdom building.
That's number 2. Write that down, this date and time there. And I've agreed again.
I want to ask you a question. Do you think if you do work with the government that it must be required that you use unions?
Required that you use union? No. In the state of Tennessee, you can't.
Because we're a right-to-work state, which the Democrat Party furiously fights against.
Well, then, what's going on down in Chattanooga right now? The Labor Board orders Volkswagen to begin bargaining with the UAW.
It's real simple what's going on. President Obama has stacked the National Labor Relations Board with pro-union people, and they are actually violating what in the past has been pretty settled law. That right there is a violation of the precedent that has been in place for decades.
Right.
Volkswagen's a little guilty of that. They want a union.
No. We said this on the front end. They got in bed with the union, and we said the union will cut your throat as soon as they need to. Within less than a year, they cut VW's throat.
I'm not pro-union. I'm a Democrat. I'm not pro-union. I always thought it was better to treat your people properly, and you didn't have to have a union. I think that was the better thing to do.
So you're thinking Republican there?
I'm thinking that
that's Republican thing.
No, I think treat your people right is a human thing. It isn't Democrat or Republican.
Well,
it's just that the Republicans do it more often.
Yeah, the Republicans do it more often than.
That's not.
I'm glad you're thinking Republican.
Yeah, there is many Republican unions and Democrats, all together, and. Hey, I think they're great.
Anyway,
I think they're great Republican ideals.
I want to finish.
The really scary thing about unions right now are the government unions.
Yes,
because unions have been on the decline for the most part in the private sector, but the government unions have been growing. And I will tell you, our future battles politically are going to be between federal or not just federal, but government employees and the rest of us that have to earn the taxes to pay for those employees.
I want to read just a little bit of this. UAW Secretary Treasurer Gary Castile said the order shows that Volkswagen has been operating in violation of the federal law by refusing to come to the bargaining table. But Volkswagen has argued that the labor decision should only be made by the plant's entire hourly workforce of 1,400 employees. What they did is they got a few employees.
Go back all the way to the start. They pushed this because they thought they could win.
Right.
They didn't win. And when they didn't win, they were supposed to have to wait a year before they could have another vote.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that National Labor Relations Board allowed them to have another vote in 3 months, and 50 something employees out of a couple thousand agreed to vote for the UAW.
160 skilled trade workers who specialize in repair and maintenance of machinery.
Out of over, I think, close to 2,000.
1,400.
So now, because of those 150 or 60 people, the National Labor Relations Board is now demanding that VW recognize the union for all of them. In other words, they lost the vote, and they're cooking the books.
That's right.
Well, like I say,
I'm glad you're thinking Republican here, though, Ron.
Well, if it's a good idea, it's a good idea. I don't care what I don't call everything Republican, Democrat. Good ideals are good ideals. Bad ideals are bad ideals.
Republicans just have more of them.
Well, now we're going to disagree. Yeah, but there's stupid things the Democrats do, and there's stupid things Republicans do. And
all right, I want to ask you. I'm going to change the subject.
Okay.
Entirely. What do you think about American journalism today?
It's sad.
Okay.
Very sad.
We got it sad. Do you think it's collapsing?
Well, it's got to the point now, and I'll use 2 examples now, and Fox News and MSNBC.
Mm-hmm.
Something happens in the political world, and you can watch Fox for 10 minutes and MSNBC, and they're 2 totally different stories. And a lot of times, neither one of them are right.
I'll tell you one that got me this week. It was funny to watch, was when Hillary collapsed, okay? Mm-hmm. They had her out there. Of course, we would have never known about it if somebody hadn't got it on video.
Amateur video.
Now,
keep in mind, I'm going to defend the press slightly here, because one of the reasons you wouldn't have had any video from the news organizations is the Hillary Clinton campaign literally rounded them up and wouldn't let them out of the corral.
That's right. But anyway.
Same as Trump did when he went and got his physical.
Anyway.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Anyway, when I was going back and forth between Fox and CNN, I like to do that a lot, just kind of keep up with both sides. And they were talking about, she just was overcome by the heat, and it was so hot.
But she didn't take her jacket off.
And all these type things. Anyway, when you see Fox, they said it was 77 degrees. There was a nice breeze. It was probably the prettiest morning we've had in New York for years.
She still had her jacket on.
Said, why would they say that? She's sitting there overheated.
Bottom line, she has pneumonia. She wasn't overheated.
I think she has Parkinson's disease.
You don't know that.
I didn't say I knew that. I said I think she has Parkinson's disease.
That's what's wrong with the news.
If you want to get into it, I'll be glad to get into it. And
that's when you get into the news.
Doctors.
Wait a minute. Let's get into it.
Here's a real simple thing. All she has to do is release her medical records.
Why don't Trump do the same?
We're not talking about Trump. If you want to talk about Trump, we'll talk about Trump.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. If you want to talk about him in a minute, you say he should release it. And here's what I'll say. You're absolutely right. He should release it. But we're talking about Hillary right now. And Trump didn't collapse on national TV either.
Hillary should release it.
Trump is getting ready to release his, but the only thing you can say then is, why won't he release his tax records?
Well, he should do that.
Wait a minute. Let's talk about health.
Okay.
Did you watch the collapse?
Yes, I did.
Did it look like a feint to you?
Yes.
No. Look, I'll be honest with you.
Whatever you want to call
My dad had Parkinson's. I've been around Parkinson's. There is something seriously wrong with her. And when you get into this, you get into things like they violated Secret Service protocol. Protocol is she goes with a police escort to the nearest trauma, I forget the level, but one of the high-level trauma centers. They deviated from that and took her straight to Chelsea's apartment. That is actually a violation. One, it's a violation of common sense. If you collapse the way she collapsed, most normal human beings would say, I need to go get checked out. And by the way, Ron, the diagnosis of pneumonia that was the 5th explanation that they gave for what happened requires a chest x-ray. They said they diagnosed her on Friday. CNN was with her all day, not Fox, CNN. never got a chest X-ray. How'd they diagnose that?
Yeah, I don't know. The CNN went into the doctor's office.
CNN was with her all day. She
doctor.
never went to the doctor on Friday. That's the point. She never went to a
But
doctor.
you're sitting here saying she's got Parkinson's.
I said my opinion is
Your
I think
opinion.
she's got
but
Parkinson's.
See, that's what's wrong with the news today.
I'm not the news. I'm an opinion person.
Well,
my opinion is she's got Parkinson's.
But the news and people to start saying anything.
Can I say something, Ron?
Sure.
Do you think she has a problem?
She was sick. Yeah, she's sick. I don't know what level she is, and they
Maybe
say
she's
that
just wore out.
Ron, have you ever asked an affiliate of yours to research Parkinson's drugs?
I have not. No.
Hillary has. In the leaked emails, one of her staffers was requested at her request
You
to
read
research.
that email?
Yes, they were. It was in some of the WikiLeaks dumped documents.
You mean we
that came
found
out
that
2
one?
months ago? Yes,
We found that
There's
one?
a document from one of her staffers, and he says, per HRC's request, he had researched different Parkinson's drugs. Why would you do that? You think she's writing a term paper on a new master's thesis on
could be.
Parkinson's?
Could be. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, anyway, she
She made a mistake when she did not report that effectively.
Well, what about
Timely?
Huma Abedin's emails where she said Hillary Rodham Clinton is, and this is a quote, is often confused? That's
I'm
her
often
personal.
confused.
She's running for president of the United States, and I'd probably say the same thing about you if
I
you were
think
running.
anybody
What
who's-
did Bill say about her?
Well, Bill, now that's another interesting. You brought up the news and the journalists. So Bill's giving an interview, and in the interview, he says she is frequently, and then he goes, and you can see a panicked look on his face. He says, no, not frequently, but every now and then.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? CNN edited that out of the interview. Now, it's a 1.5 second slip of the tongue on Bill Clinton's part, and their explanation was they did it for time constraints. So they cut 1.5 seconds out where he used the word frequently instead of occasionally.
Now, we're sitting here talking about, the first question was, is the news, and I say it's very sad, because we don't have any regular news anymore.
It's all advocacy.
Yeah, it's both sides are doing it, and both sides are wrong. It isn't the days when Ted Turner first started CNN News, when they had headline news, and every 30 minutes you got news. You go to headline news now, and I get Nancy Grace. That's not headline news
But
anymore.
there is a difference. I'll give you an example. There's a difference between, even as worse as they get on MSNBC and NBC. Now, the problem is they started to bleed over. They've been bringing their news correspondents from NBC News have now been coming over and giving their opinion on MSNBC. And the problem is you used to be able to tell the difference between who was considered a hard news journalist and who was an opinion. When you talk about Fox News, if you're talking about Sean Hannity, he's not a newsman. He's not a journalist. Bill O'Reilly's not a journalist.
I agree.
Now, Brett Baer is a journalist. If you watch Brett Baer at 6 o'clock on Fox News, you will get a very even-handed, I think, nuanced discussion of facts. So the public needs to be able to tell the difference between news
couldn't agree more.
And commentary. The problem is commentary is bleeding into the news networks.
The whole everything has gone that way. There is no true news.
Well, the Charlie Rose interview with President Clinton was supposed to be news. When they deceptively edit, so now I'll agree. I think he made a slip of the tongue.
Probably
I think
did.
it's a Freudian slip. I think it is frequent. I think you wouldn't use the word frequent unless it was actually frequent. But instead of letting that go out, which would have damaged Hillary Clinton's campaign, that news section, not opinion section, they edited that to protect Hillary Rodham Clinton.
But for all purposes today, we're on the radio. We could be considered news. We could be considered an opinion.
No, we're completely opinion, Ron. We're
Well,
not news.
And so I want to point that out. It is an opinion. Because you say she has Parkinson.
I said
You
my
can't do that.
opinion is.
There's a lot of things I could say. You know, I watched.
Well, let me
Fox
put it-
News had a thing about Donald Trump yesterday, and the doctor who signed his four paragraph thing. Have you seen the picture of that doctor? Long hair and earrings, and
But
he
here's
did not do the
Yes,
examination.
but here's the difference, Ron. Donald Trump hasn't collapsed multiple times on air. He hasn't frozen up and had to have people come up, rub his back and say, it's okay. We're still here. Keep talking. Did you see that video from July?
Yes.
It's okay, Hillary.
See,
we're still here. Keep talking.
That's why we
And you
need
know
a
what?
medical
That's
record.
a freeze.
An honest medical record from everybody.
That's the type of freeze that Parkinson's patients get.
Anyway.
When you touch them, you bring them back to reality.
Donald is getting ready to release his. He's already said he was. He's got a TV show he's going to do it on.
Now, Dr. Oz said that he could not ask him certain questions today.
And by the way, there was a new poll out on that.
Go ahead.
45% of American voters believe that Clinton's campaign's explanation that for why she suffered a medical episode are not credible. And 46 don't think she has pneumonia, and they think she's suffering from something different, while only 9% said they didn't know what to believe.
Well, I'd say those same 45% have a lot of opinions about Hillary Clinton.
Well, 38% thought that Republican nominee Donald Trump was healthy enough for office, and only 9% thought Clinton was.
And I'm sure that was a Fox poll.
No, actually, it was the Times of London. It wasn't even a U.S. newspaper. The Times of London, which is a reputable newspaper, Ron.
You know, I'm not sitting here saying Hillary Clinton is not flawed.
Not flawed.
I
Well, let me ask you the other question, Ron.
there are a lot of
we
very
accept-
stupid things she's done.
If we
Wasn't my
accept
choice in
that
our
she
party.
has pneumonia,
Yes.
which, by the way, when you go through that was really interesting. So at 10 a.m., she was simply overheated, even though she kept her coat on, her heavy black coat.
Right.
At noon, she was feeling great and had a photo with the child. At 5 p.m., she had pneumonia, and at 10 p.m., she canceled all her events for the rest of the week. Now, another thing, Ron, let's accept their explanation that she just has pneumonia, okay? Did you see the little girl come up to her and get a big hug? Mm-hmm. Do people with viral or bacterial pneumonia need to be hugging young,
We don't know what
vulnerable children?
She don't know what
Hillary-
kind of pneumonia has.
She hugged a small
Yes,
child.
I saw that, yes.
So my point here is either A, she wasn't worried about the small child because she really doesn't have pneumonia.
She was looking
She has
for a
something
photo
else.
op. She was
Or
looking
she
for-
didn't care about giving the small child
She was
pneumonia.
looking for a photo op. Let's get over that. We know
and
what
by
she
the
was
way,
doing.
small children don't get through rope lines unless it's a planned
She
event.
did. Let me
So
clear
she
this. Let me clear
planned
this
that
up right
photo op.
now. She did not know Hitler.
Where were you on 9/11?
I was sitting in my office.
All right, where were you?
I was in my office working.
Okay. What did you think when you first saw it?
I was angry.
What did you think?
I was shocked and saddened.
It was a pretty sad day. Why do you think President Obama, he went to the 9/11 ceremony?
Not on time.
Well, it was scheduled to be an event that started when the first
Crashed.
plane hit the building. He moved it up 5 minutes with no
They
reason.
said he was impatient. He was tired of waiting.
5 minutes. Why would he do that?
Because he's an egotistical, self-centered,
We changed the start time
Man.
5 minutes. That's,
He moved it up 5 minutes. It was a scheduled event to start when the actual time when the plane hit the building. 9:38, I believe it was, or something like that. Why would he do that?
I have no earthly idea.
because
and
he's egotistical and it's all about him.
it isn't like he changed it to the day before 5
Well, Ron,
minutes.
I'll give you a personal example.
Do you think it could have been because somebody radioed him and said, "You better get this thing started. Hillary's about to go down"?
Well, I didn't even think about that.
Huh? I mean, I don't know. I just
It
thought about
doesn't,
that
to me, it doesn't matter why he did it. You don't do it. Ron, I was ushering at the Christmas Eve service, and I was ushering in the balcony. And when we light the Christ candle, then the ushers go down and you light your candle, and then you go out and you pass that light to all the other people. Well, they handed me a lighter, and they said, well, you're up in the balcony. Here's the lighter. You light your candle and then light everyone else's candle. And I stood there for a second, because you're always hesitant to make a scene. And I said, but all the light is supposed to come from the Christ candle. And they said, yeah, but the balcony's way up there and it's hard to get up and down that fast. And I said, but the whole point of this is that it comes from the Christ candle. It all comes from the same candle. And they said, well, it's so hard. And I said, look, I can get up and down the stairs. So unless you tell me no, I want to come down with you. I want to light my candle off the Christ candle and I will get it up into the balcony. Now, my point in bringing that up is they're just like Barack Obama. And like you're doing right here, you're going, well, it's only 5 minutes. The point is it's either right or it's wrong.
So the
It's
people
either
who wanted you to
symbolic
with your lighter weren't Christians at that
I'm saying they were making a mistake in judgment.
Sure,
it was a mistake in judgment.
But they weren't Christians?
I didn't say that. And see, now you're trying to muddy the waters. The point is, for me, it was important that the details mattered and that the symbolism mattered. And so in this case, it was important that that event take place at the moment it happened. And he substituted another value judgment there. And the only thing you can come to is it was all about him. It wasn't about the broader issue. It wasn't about America. It wasn't about honoring the people who died. It was about him and what he wanted. He's egotistical and selfish.
Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Backfire with Steve Hickson. We'll be right back after this.
Hello, I'm Shelley Duvall.
And you're listening to WOOPLP, Cleveland, Tennessee. WOOP FM is a broadcasting service of the Traditional Music Resource Center, and we play America's original music. WOOP FM wants to know, what do you really think about us? Call and leave us a message at 614-5553, and we'll play it on the air. Love us? Hate us? Let us know. 614-5553.
Check into cash. The cash you need today is waiting for you at Check into Cash. It's your money, so come in and get it.
Get a payday advance today for up to $425. At Check into Cash, we make it quick, easy, and confidential.
The cash you need is right here, so stop worrying and stop in to Check into Cash today.
Borrowers often use payday advances over a period of months, which can be expensive. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
Tired of carrying around cash in your pocket and tired of banks? Visit usmoneycard.com and get your prepaid debit card to use wherever MasterCard is accepted. It's a smart and safe alternative to carrying cash, and it's convenient. Even if you have a bill that requires a check, US Money Card has that too. Visit usmoneycard.com today and find out how to get your reloadable prepaid debit card. Log on, load up, and love your US Money Card. Visit usmoneycard.com for complete details. After 135 years, Hardwick Clothes, America's oldest since 1880, has delivered on our commitment to produce the finest navy blazer in America. This limited edition blazer was announced as the style winner in Garden & Guns Made in the South Awards. Crafted in Cleveland, Tennessee, we use premium Italian wool from Vitale Barberis, custom Bimberg lining, and signature gold buttons. It's available through the finest men's stores or at hardwick.com.
Hello, my name is Andy Figglestaller with Ed Jacobs & Associates. We are an employee benefit and insurance broker in business for the past 20 years. The new healthcare law, also known as Obamacare, has finally arrived. The law is complex and the choices are confusing. You have questions, we have the answers. It is our passion to find cost-effective solutions for every client. The solutions will be different for every person or business. Let our knowledge, experience, and passion go to work for you. Contact us today and let us assist you through this process. Our phone number is 423-473-0202, or you can find us on the web at edjacobs.com.
No dealers allowed.
Jackson Catnapper, family owned and operated in Cleveland since 1933, offering the best with over 70 styles of recliners, sofas, electronic lift chairs, full living room packages. Call Mike now at 961-7239 because Jackson Catnapper now offers sales to the public
every Saturday. That's right, every Saturday.
From 8 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon. Or call Mike at 961-7239. Or go see him
every Saturday
at 1911 King Edward Avenue, just across from the main plant. Jackson Catnapper, family owned and operated in Cleveland since 1933. 961-7239.
No dealers allowed.
Train engineers put our heating and cooling products for almost every test imaginable. So while you're sending your kids to school, they're sending 10,000 volts through a compressor. Testing like this is the reason Train is so reliable, and why our engineers prefer their steaks. Well done.
Ready to indulge in Train comfort? Call a Train comfort specialist at Mechanical Systems, 336-5739. High-quality service and installation for more than 30 years.
It's hard to stop a train. Really hard.
You're listening to Backfire with Steve Hickson on WOOP FM. Call 423.
Not all Democrats are right, not all Republicans.
5553 to join in on the conversation. Now, back to Backfire.
All right, we're back live in the studio this morning with Ron Moore and John Stanberry, and of course myself.
I haven't yelled once today, have I? Oh, I wasn't yelling. I was discussing loudly.
Just emphatic. My voice was just emphatic.
What about the athletes sitting during their pledge allegiance?
Go find a damn country that you like living in.
I agree.
I agree with you 100%. I think it's a wrong. Now, does he have the right to sit down? There is no law that says
absolutely he has a right, and I have a right to not watch that game.
You're exactly
not
right.
buy any products of that team.
Well, I think we all agree on that. But if he has the right under our country, which is a great country, and we have the right for our freedoms, if he don't want to stand up, if he don't want to put his hand over the flag, but I teach my grandchildren and I make them stand up at the football game.
By the way, he never had any of these problems until he started dating a Muslim girlfriend.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's got an attitude, and
$19 million contract. $10 million a year to sit on the bench, and he has the gall to say America's not a good country?
For $19 million, I'll stand up in the end zone and wave American flag for $19 million. But I think it's wrong. I'm not for him 100%. I agree with you. I don't want to buy their products. I'm not going to watch that team.
But this is a product of the progressive culture that your party has created.
This has nothing to do with Democrats
The
or Republicans.
President of the United States supported what he was doing just last week in Europe. Supported
his right to do it.
But he didn't condemn it. He didn't say he should be proud of America. The president didn't defend America. He's on foreign soil. You got a guy who won't stand up for the national anthem, and our own president says, well, he's got a right to do that.
How this got to Obama, I don't know. I mean, basically.
Because he didn't say
idiot.
It was wrong. He didn't say he disagreed with it.
Well, Donald Trump won't say that David Duke's a bad person either. So
actually, Donald Trump has said David Duke's a bad person and that they didn't want his support. And by the way, as long as you're going to go there, the United States Communist Party has endorsed Hillary Clinton. They are responsible for the murder of 100 million people last century. So if you want to go there, we'll be glad to go there because her supporters have murdered systematically 100 million people.
Around the world.
Around the world.
How many of the Ku Klux Klan murdered in the United States?
I don't know. They were all Democrats, Ron. You want to go there?
Not all of them.
The 4 people that were expelled from the Tennessee's legislature in the 1860s were Democrats who were opposed to giving rights to
Wait a minute.
slaves.
Ron's going to tell you they were deplorable.
I will not tell you they're deplorable. That's
half of America's deplorable, according to your candidate.
Very stupid comment, and
But it was from the heart. From the heart.
It was a planned comment.
It was a planned written speech that she delivered.
And she has apologized for it.
Oh,
but
no, she didn't apologize.
She
said
she did not.
She said, I shouldn't have chosen those words, but she didn't
that
apologize.
Sounds like a Donald Trump
That's
apology.
not an apology.
That's a Donald Trump apology, right?
Ron, if you want to ask me a question about something Donald Trump did, I will debate that with you. We keep asking you about things Hillary Clinton did instead of commenting on how asinine it was or how horrible it was.
Did you not
deflect back onto Trump.
You apparently don't listen to a Democrat. Because I said it was wrong. I said it was wrong that she did that. I thought it was a very stupid comment.
Do you think her foundation's okay?
Her foundation?
Yeah.
Overall, yes.
Overall.
Yeah. It's a good foundation.
So the Haitians, the Haitians who never got any of the things the money was raised for, they should just shut up and go away. Have you looked at the Haitian money that Bill Clinton raised? There's fraud. They stole money. They never built it. One guy bought yachts and luxury condominiums with the money that Bill Clinton helped raise for the Haitians. And by the way, Ron, your wonderful president is now going to take taxpayer dollars and pay for the sex change operation of a traitor in our military prison system. Chelsea Manning has dropped his what was it? He wasn't eating his hunger strike because the government has now agreed to pay for his sex change operation. So folks, when you write that next check to the IRS, thank Obama, thank Ron, thank Hillary Clinton for making you pay for a sex change operation for a traitor to the United States of America.
You can't sit here and thank Ron. Don't paint me with the wide brush.
Party, no, your administration.
So you'll claim everything the Republican Party's ever done wrong. You're going to claim that.
I'll if they do something wrong, I'll argue with them. Ron, do you agree with the Obama administration?
Do you know if I voted for Obama?
Do you agree with their support for the transgender, gay, lesbian alliance? Everything they want.
North Carolina removable.
Are you for all of that? Because your party's for it. Your candidate, you say you're going to vote
it
for us
doesn't
for
bother
it.
me. Yeah, those are little.
There you go,
things.
folks. When you
Doesn't
write
bother
your
me.
check to the IRS, knowing that it's going to pay for Chelsea Manning's sex change operation, that doesn't bother Ron.
By the way, do you think the IRS ought to impeach their leader?
Well, why? Just because he lied to Congress like so many other Obama administration people have done?
What do you think?
Apparently, lying under oath is not a crime anymore if you're a Democrat.
Ron, are you still a Democrat?
I've always been a Democrat.
I always will be.
Yes, sir.
No matter what.
I'll always be a Democrat. I don't mean I will agree with the party all the time.
Well, let me ask you something. Do you think JFK today would probably be considered conservative compared to the Democrat Party the way it is today? Right or wrong?
I would think he would be a little more conservative.
A little more. He was staunchly anti-communist. He was for cutting tax. He said the best way to stimulate an economy is to cut taxes.
That's right.
There's no place in your party for anybody who believes in cutting taxes these days. About 4 or 5 years ago,
How much was
George
Eisenhower's tax
McGovern
rate?
wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal that said the Democratic Party had become too liberal. When the party is too liberal for George McGovern, it's pretty liberal.
Ronald Reagan couldn't get elected as a Republican conservative now, could he?
Yes, he could.
No, he couldn't. I
believe he could.
Democrat ideals are closer to Ronald Reagan right now than they.
Well, then what do you think Trump's ideals
Which
are?
one would that be? Cutting taxes?
What do you think Trump's ideals
I have
are?
no idea what Trump's ideals are. He really hasn't given us a lot of information.
But do you think he's in the middle, or is he right, or is he left?
I think he's more in the middle.
Okay. Would that be where you think JFK was years ago?
Yes, sir.
And then are you going to support Trump?
No.
So you're going to stay left?
Yes.
And by the way, Hillary's people...
Unfortunately...
Hillary's people
Why are you
have
staying
actually
left?
doubled down on the deplorables comment. They didn't take it back. They didn't apologize. They've actually doubled down on it.
Well, the Republican Party is now all wearing shirts said we're deplorable.
Well, that's because when you get hardworking black Americans, hardworking women, hardworking steel workers, farmers, they're all supporting Donald Trump. And she called them deplorables.
Yes, and that was absolutely
And guess
wrong.
what? A candidate who feels that way about half of the electorate disqualifies herself to be the president of all the people.
Did you read the New York Times article that says that what she said was incorrect, but 67% of the people want to do, that are voting for Donald Trump want to do with Muslims.
That's the same New York Times that said Mitt Romney didn't deserve to be president over his 47% comment, correct?
Yeah, sure.
But now they're okay with Hillary Clinton making a comment like that, which just goes back to the original comment that journalism has killed itself in America. There's no integrity.
For both sides.
No. The journalism is uniformly to the left.
No.
Outside of Fox News, it is uniformly to the left. Nearly every editorial page in the country is left.
Now then, I want to...
96% of all college professors are liberal Democrats. Does that sound fair to you?
Is the Chattanooga Times? It has both sides.
That's one of the few newspapers in the country.
What about the paper is in Texas that just endorsed...
Look, Ron, I didn't say all of them. I said the vast majority of them overwhelmingly are liberal Democrat.
Ron, I want to get back. You almost was ready to answer something, and John interrupted it. Now, you think Kennedy, JFK, would be considered a conservative now? And
I would think so. Closer to it, yeah.
Okay.
Closer towards the middle.
Now, then,
where I think I am.
You agreed that everybody in the Democratic Party's gone far left right now,
Not
right?
everybody, no.
Well,
no.
Let's say
No,
that the
there are a lot of
Democratic...
us blue dog Democrats out there.
Let's say that the Democratic Party, the majority, is far left, right?
I don't know that.
The party
for sure.
leadership is certainly far left.
Okay. Then would you say that? The party leadership?
There's a lot of them that is, yes.
Far left.
Yes.
Okay. Now then, the Republicans in the past have been far right.
Very far right.
And you said that you thought Donald Trump was in the middle.
I thought he's closer to the middle, yes.
Well, that's closer to conservative.
I agree.
Okay. So you like JFK.
Yes.
So why don't you like Trump?
I was only 6 years old, though.
Okay.
Well,
so you wouldn't vote for Trump, I take it.
There's so many unknowns about Donald Trump now. You know, his tax return may show that he's...
The tax return is going to show he made a heck of a lot of money.
Well,
now,
but he also showed where his contribution may or may not win. Also, there's a big report supposed to be coming out today. I haven't read it, so I don't know. But it's been leaked saying that it's
he's
going to
been an American all his life.
Let me ask you.
No, that he is in bed with a lot of foreign countries right now.
Oh my gosh!
And
If the fact that you're willing to say that at all,
I'm saying.
Let me ask you a question, Ron. What company did Bill and Hillary Clinton build that made them multimillionaires?
None.
What project did they? What invention did they come up with
None.
that have made them? So where have they made all that multi-millions of dollars?
Where did Trump make his?
I'm asking you. See, you're doing the same thing. Answer my
become
question.
a president. He got a lot of speaking
Donald
engagements.
Trump had companies. Now you can argue he didn't run this company right or didn't, but he has companies. He's built himself. He earned his money. Mitt Romney. People didn't understand this, but his father gave away every dime of his income. Everything Mitt Romney had, he built. He built companies. What have the Clintons built?
Nothing.
So their entire multi-million-dollar fortune has been built off the back of crony capitalism, government employees who are willing and able to deliver things for people who would give them money.
Why would you want to elect a career politician?
I agree with that comment.
How did they become multi-millionaires? It wasn't from their book sales. Let's separate their book sales out, and they're still multi-millionaires. Where'd all that money come from?
Well,
Ron, I'm a pretty damn good speaker. You think anybody will pay me $250,000 to
nobody's
speak?
Gonna pay me. They pay me to quit.
Now Bill Clinton's getting $16 million to be the chancellor of apparently a somewhat imaginary university. He doesn't have an office that he goes to, but they're paying him $16 million. By the way, John Kerry's State Department funneled $9 million to his daughter's company.
You wouldn't take that job if they offered it to you for $16 million?
No, you're missing the point. They wouldn't offer it to me because I don't have any favors to grant them as a government-connected employee. That's the point. Thank you for making it. They are selling access to the government.
Before this show's over with, I think we're going to have Ron Moore voting for Trump.
No, that's
the Clintons
not true.
have sold access, and they've become multimillionaires off the backs of the people paying for big government.
If I said that Hillary Clinton is a flawed candidate,
she's not a flawed candidate. She's a crook. She's a perjuring, lying, cheating crook.
Wait a minute. Where do you
flawed? Huh?
Where have you? Where has she been convicted? Where?
You're right, because Barack Obama is another lying, cheating crook who has a Justice Department that won't prosecute his friends and allies.
When was that? When did it happen?
She has well, I'll give you a good example, Ron.
Was Richard Nixon?
When
a
has
crook?
she lied? Is that what you want to know? When has she lied?
Was Richard Nixon a crook?
Yes.
Was he ever convicted?
Yes.
No. He was never convicted of anything.
Who let him loose?
Do you know? Have you heard of a naval reservist named Brian Nishimura?
No, I can't say that I have.
Nishimura downloaded and stored on his personal unclassified electronic devices and storage media. He carried that classified material on his unauthorized media when he traveled off base in Afghanistan, and ultimately carried those materials back to the United States at the end of his deployment. He's now going to prison, Ron, for that. By the way, there's another guy being prosecuted right now, a Marine, and this is what he did. He transmitted classified material to another commander. He had left Afghanistan. He transmitted classified material to the commander in Afghanistan about a Afghani person they were working with, that he was concerned about the guy's security abilities. 3 days later, the guy participated in an explosion that killed 3 of our personnel. So this Marine transmitted classified material over his personal computers, but his intent was to save American lives. He's going to prison. Hillary Clinton did all of the exact same thing. She's not even going to be prosecuted. That shows you what your president, Obama, has done to the Justice Department.
Was the FBI director, who was he appointed by?
He was appointed by Bush.
So apparently he's a Republican.
Well, you know what? The whole point of Donald Trump's candidacy is both parties are the party of big government at times. There are people on both sides that screw up. Our problem is government is out of contact with the people.
What? I agree with that statement.
She's a crook. She's violated.
No, she
did she or did? All right. None of her lawyers had security clearance, Ron. She gave them access to classified files. That in and of itself is a violation of law.
Abba-dabba-doo.
Why weren't we? Why didn't the FBI say let's prosecute?
Because Obama's Justice Department
Won't
put the
prosecute
fix
her.
in.
They won't prosecute
You
her.
can't fix FBI directors and CIA directors.
Absolutely, you can.
Yeah, you can with careers and everything
See,
else. You
I'm
can.
not that cynical about our country yet.
Look, nobody was that cynical about James Comey either before he released his report. His own statements, Ron, indicate she violated the law. For example, he said the reason they didn't prosecute or recommend prosecution is because they couldn't establish intent. They never uttered the word intent in a single question to her. How do you have no intent as the reason not to prosecute when you didn't even look at intent?
Why do you think all these guys came to testify and took the fifth?
Why do you plead the fifth, Ron?
Because this looks like a witch hunt.
It looks like a witch hunt.
So when Bill Clinton lied under oath in the federal trial of Paula Jones, that wasn't a perjury.
Do you have proof he lied?
Yes, he was disbarred. He can't practice law anymore because he lied under oath. They know he lied under oath.
Boy, he's made pretty good money, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, which is exactly what our point earlier. And that's what disqualifies her to be president. Thank you very much.
Going back to the Clinton IT8, the guy that didn't show up, the IT director did not show up.
Well, there's three of them. Four people were subpoenaed.
Right.
One showed up and testified. Two showed up and pled the fifth. The third one refused to even come.
And he's the one that worked for the State Department direct.
Right.
The IT. He's the one that failed to show up.
The one that did show up testified that 20 people had access to all her devices. Now, Ron, that's 20 people without security clearance who had access to top secret files because of Hillary Clinton.
Even what's her name?
Abedin. She left, there's an email where she says she left a burn folder which had classified material in it in the seat of her car parked on a street in India.
Well, do you ever do anything as a dentist?
I do lots as a dentist.
Let me ask you.
Like that all you do is read these.
Let me ask you another
If you're reading
question.
this off the internet, I don't trust that.
What are these cities where they hide these
These are her emails that have been leaked.
You've got her emails in your hand.
I've got copies of them.
And where'd they come from, though?
They came from WikiLeaks.
Oh, I'd trust WikiLeaks really a lot.
Well, you all were defending him a year ago when he was doing your business. When he was leaking state secrets, you all were happy with it. It wasn't until he leaked DNC secrets that you decided you were against him.
You got to learn to say that not all Democrats. See, you think every Democrat in the world's bad.
No, I think people like you are just misguided.
No, I
think you're confused. I think the party left you.
Did I walk in here and tell you that
you can't bring yourself to say I can't be a Democrat anymore because they're not the same party they used to be? Harry Truman would not be a Democrat today. Matter of fact, the party wouldn't accept him as a Democrat.
Well, you've got to thank LBJ or you wouldn't be in the office there. He's the one to give you the Republican Party.
What about...
is that true? Did he not turn the South over when we passed the Civil Rights Bill in '64? If it hadn't been for that, the South was all Democrats at that time. Was it not?
The South was conservative, Ron. That's the problem. The Democrat Party has become liberal progressive party. Your own DNC chairman couldn't tell the difference between the Democrats and socialists. She was asked point blank, "What's the difference?" and she couldn't tell you.
Do you believe in sanctuary cities, Ron?
No, there shouldn't be any.
Your party does. Your president does.
I don't know.
Why do you think they allow that?
I have no idea why they allow that. I wish I had an answer. Do
you think that the Democrats ought to uphold the rule of law, of all laws?
Yes.
That are public laws right now?
Yes.
Why aren't they doing that?
I'm not everywhere. I don't know why they're not doing it.
All right, let me ask you a question, Ron.
Should we do it here in Bradley County?
The
Have we
Justice
always done
Department sent out a memo that's told states, if you don't agree to our transgender bathroom policy, we may cut off your federal funding. Do you think that they have the right or the power to use federal funding in that manner?
Yes, they do.
All right. So sanctuary cities sanctuary cities that are violating federal immigration laws, why is the Justice Department and the Obama administration not threatening to cut off their funding?
They should.
which means they're for transgender bathroom, but they're not for enforcing immigration law. Your party supports forcing people to use the same bathroom, but doesn't support defending our own country from illegal immigration.
Don't paint us with a broad brush.
You just admitted it, Ron.
No.
They have the power. They use it in one instance. They don't use it in another.
Not all of us. We all agree.
Then quit electing these liberal progressives that represent your party.
Why do you elect Republicans that sell arms to Iran?
Your guy just gave $400 billion in cash to Iran.
It was their money.
No, it wasn't their money.
Was.
You know what? We didn't have to give it back to them.
Seized money.
Oh, God.
Oh, my gosh, Ron. And by the way, the Benghazi, the reason they didn't get the cover that they needed in Benghazi is because Hillary Clinton was running guns out of Benghazi into Syria, and they don't want to admit that.
Well, I tell you, you ought to work for the CIA.
By the way,
you ought to work for the CIA.
About guns, Eric Holder funneled all kinds of guns in Fast and Furious to the Mexican drug lords who have now used them to kill American agents.
It's enjoyable to sit and listen to John talk.
Well, talk to Brian Terry's wife.
The Philippines president, have you heard what he's got to say?
Yeah.
Have you heard that, Ron?
But
what he's saying right
Obama's
now?
one of the most respected men in the world.
I heard that, but I don't remember what he said.
His name is Rodrigo Duterte or something like that. Said Monday that he wanted U.S. Special Forces out of his country's south and blamed America for inflaming the Muslim in the region. This was a public statement that he made.
That's after he called Obama the son of a, and I can't even repeat the word.
So we're going to quote him and
no. What we're going to say is Obama has destroyed the prestige of America in the eyes of the world.
No, this is a ruler of some foreign country that says
that used to be our ally. The Philippines, used to be a territory of ours.
The Philippines. I mean, that's a wonderful.
One of our best allies in the South Pacific is now calling our Obama horrible, which don't get me wrong, I'm completely against him talking about the President of the United States like that. The point is, the President of the United States is the man who has so degraded our image and our standing in the world that a tin-pan dictator in a country like that doesn't feel concerned about insulting him on a national stage.
I heard you just say that that was Iran's money, that we should have given them all this money back.
We had seized their money.
Okay.
Because they seized 52 of our people and held them and tortured them.
Yes. Yeah. Now, in defense of all that, we have bought time to keep them from getting nuclear weapons. And now, don't tell me you know that they're making them right now.
They are making them right now.
You've not been there.
Okay. Let me change the subject. Let me change the subject. Why are they threatening our U.S. troops right now?
Why are they blockading our ships?
Yeah. Why are they doing that?
They shouldn't be.
Well, let me ask you a question. The Fordham nuclear site, which, by the way, we never got inspectors in, which was one of the main militarized uranium sites, has now bought an advanced anti-aircraft missile system from the Russians and installed them at that site. Now, if that's a peaceful site that's not doing nuclear research, why is it 500 feet under the ground in concrete surrounded by brand new Russian anti-aircraft missile systems?
Do we not have those too? Does not Russia have them? England have them? Does not every country in the world have some kind of anti-missile defense system?
You're literally going to defend a country like Iran.
I'm not defending Iran.
They are the leading, by the president's own admission, they are the leading state sponsor of terrorism in the world. And they even admitted that by the way, Ron, if we had to give that money back to them, why would we have to give it on cellophane pallets of actual cash? Why not just write a check or do a wire transfer? You know why? Because we could track that. So if we send them cash, they take one of those pallets and they call Hezbollah up and they go, hey, bring a forklift over here and get this pallet of money. That's what we did it for. So our president was either dumb enough or so confused by his idea that America is the great Satan that he actually handed them cash in hand that could be handed straight to terrorists and not be tracked.
There have been some question of that photo that was what they were delivering in those pallets.
There's no question. They admitted they gave it in cash. They admitted it.
But it necessarily wasn't on those pallets.
Oh, I see. Well, there you go. That's a good technical argument.
That's a great looking thing.
Have you ever seen $400 billion in cash? I'm assuming it takes up a lot of pallets.
Have you?
I have on the pictures that I saw.
You don't know that's what
they got it on one airplane.
By the way, they said it wasn't a payment, and now we have them. They finally did admit that the plane with our hostages was sitting on the tarmac and would not leave until the plane with cash landed and was checked out. We directly paid ransom for hostages.
You agree, Ron?
No.
So,
well, the White House has already admitted it, Ron.
I didn't hear that statement.
Do you think the Democrats Party should uphold the rule of law? If we have laws, they should be upheld.
I think every human being ought to uphold.
Okay.
So you would support them cutting off money to sanctuary cities?
Yes, I would.
All right. And then your candidate, Hillary Rodham Clinton, is the wrong candidate to vote for because she doesn't support that.
I didn't vote for her.
Well, you've got a vote coming up in the fall.
Well, I've got a choice now. I only got two choices.
Actually,
my choice is
4, 5, 6, 8, 10.
Tell you the truth, I know that Steve's Donald Trump. I don't like either one of them.
What is Donald Trump?
Now I've got to make a decision. Well, I'm afraid of the comments he makes, and has
he called anybody a 50% basket of deplorables?
He called them rapists.
You mean like the women who Bill Clinton raped call him?
We're not talking about him now. We're talking about Donald Trump right now.
Well, no,
you said that to me earlier.
Yeah,
now.
You're right. But the point with him is that Hillary was actually the one that directed the smear campaign against his victims. Yeah. The woman that heads your party smeared matter of fact, did you notice on their website they used to say if you're the victim of sexual assault or rape that you are entitled to be heard, you're entitled to be believed? Well, guess what? About a month ago, they edited out the entitled to be believed part off the Hillary Rodham Clinton website. Right. It now says you're entitled to be heard, but not be believed, because a bunch of the women who say Bill Clinton sexually assaulted them said, well, aren't I entitled to be believed? And so what'd she do? She scrubbed that off her website.
Yeah.
Ron, it's been good having you with us.
I enjoyed it. Sort of.
Come back by more often.
Well, it takes me a while to recover,
Help Franklin out a little bit.
I feel so dirty when I leave here because every Democrat is a complete dog.
Well, I'm just glad to hear you're not going to vote for Hillary.
I didn't say that.
Well, wait a minute. I thought you did just say that.
I said it was not my choice for either one of them. I don't know which one I'm going to vote for, but I don't, like say,
well,
Donald Trump scares me.
If you vote for her, don't complain about sanctuary cities. Don't complain about the dude that goes in the bathroom with your wife at Target.
I'm going to point something out right here.
It's going to be hard to.
I hear you talk about county government. Who runs that here in Bradley County?
They're all Republicans. I don't talk bad about county government. I say government in general needs to be
county government.
Government in general needs to be as small as possible, is what I say, Ron. I talk bad about the idea that government grow, and it always grows.
Why don't the Republican Party here do that then?
Well, on the state level, we do that. Governor Haslam has cut the size of state government. He's cut employees. He's cut the budget. We've cut government, and we've cut taxes at the same time. And we are, I think, the second or third best state in the union for business growth because of it. Republican leadership has led to an improvement in the economy in the state of Tennessee.
Hey, Ron.
Yes, sir.
Good having you with us.
Oh, it's always great to be
I'm
here.
Proud to
John didn't yell a whole lot.
I'm proud to know you're not going to vote for Hillary. You haven't figured out who you're going to vote for, but you're not going to vote for Hillary. As long as you don't vote for Hillary, I'm okay with you.
Well, we're going to have a problem.
He's about as bad as they come. Hey,
and John's blood pressure was a whole lot lower today than usually with Franklin here. So I think he was going to live longer now since I was here.
Come back and see us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, we got to go. See you next week. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Backfire with Steve Hickson